Hello, welcome to the Word of North Bank. Good to see you. Been out away for a week or so. We are going to be doing more content going forward, so keep your eyes peeled for that as well. Meantime, if you can hit the like and subscribe if you like the content, of course. We've got Dom with us. How are we, Dom, sir?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Very well. Sorry to miss last week as well. Quite busy, but all good. Looking forward to tomorrow's game with, hands behind over my eyes and from behind the sofa. I think it'll be a nerve-wracking one, but, it's a Champions League semi-final. You've got to be excited by it, right?
Yeah, it's a semi-final. At the end of the day of anything, so it is one of those where it's look through every crack, and that's all we can do, really, innit? And I see a lot of discourse and everything around after the Newcastle game, and I think it's a bit.
OTT.
I think it's a bit over the top, to be honest with you. I see a lot of because the style of play is not very good, and when Arteta can't celebrate the win, even though it's his first win in 3 or 4 games or something. I just find it a bit over the top, didn't you?
I did too. I think, and from elements of our own fan base, look, I understand the tactical frustration. I think we have a defensive manager. That's just reality. But equally, we have scored significant goals in the Champions League. We are the second or third top scorers in the Premier League. We're not factoring in, when people are doing this analysis, how many fewer goals are being scored across the league this season, how much deeper the lines are, and how that is all affecting it. So I don't think this is purely tactical. I do think there are issues with the makeup of our attack. I do think there are issues when we have Martinelli, Madueke, and Gyökeres on the pitch. XG, whether you like it or not, I think it's a decent metric, but needs to be put alongside the eye test and other things. But I think it gives you a decent indication. Is 0.9 goals per 90 fewer when those 3 are on the pitch. So I don't like those combinations. And I do think at times we are too cautious. But I think, while the performance wasn't brilliant on Saturday, it could have been a lot better had we been a little bit braver. But I don't think that was tactical instruction. My big thing it is, and it is my big concern as well, is a weight of expectation seems to be on the majority of these players and coaching staff and the fans. I think you were there on Saturday. I mean, by all accounts, it sounded very nervy in the stadium, and it's because everyone is desperate to get this win. We spoke about it before the Carabao Cup final, and I'm not blaming the fans in the stadium. It's just everyone wants this so badly. It's leading to expectation. I think there were a couple of exceptions: Madueke, Eza, Hincapié, to be still quite relaxed. But I think this is the big thing, and I think this is not to dig Odegaard out. It was taken this way on a show I did yesterday, but I think that's mostly because people wanted to jump on the Odegaard train. And I'm not saying Odegaard's been brilliant in the last 18 months, but I do think he does make us better in many aspects of the game. But that pass that he didn't hit Gyökeres,
he wasn't the only one that he missed.
It wasn't the only one, but
No.
it is sort of the big obvious.
He was
example.
The prominent one. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
He was
He
does show that he doesn't trust Gyökeres. I think he does.
Yeah.
That said, I think it's a bit with his own mindset as well, a little bit that he wants to do that safe pass. And I think that maybe he thought that Gyökeres was going to run it out of play or something, and he just tried to keep it. He tries to keep it too simple for me and too safe. Do you know what I mean? That's that safe pass. But there's all this talk that comes from a manager, and I'm not entirely sure it does. I think some of it does. I absolutely think the fact that he doesn't want the players to give the ball away, that's cast iron. We all know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants and values control.
Yeah, but to say, well, you've basically he had 3 passes on there that he could have done. He could have played in Gyökeres. He can use him as a decoy and basically do the step that he took and play the ball to the back post. Which, when he's given up playing that ball forwards, I think that's the ball. The ball is to the back post. You just float it across and just kind of give it some shape on it. But I think we just kind of have to accept that that's who Erdegaard is.
Yeah,
he's not playing that. He doesn't play that cutting pass anymore, and he has done that before. And I don't know where it's gone. I don't know why he necessarily does what he does, but I don't put it all on the manager. I just once you're on the pitch, what's the manager going to do? Pull you off because you played a pass that he didn't like? It's not happening.
I think there's also, if you look, and I'm going to go back to the Wolves game here because it really stood out in my mind. Everyone's saying he's telling us to be defensive and get everyone behind the ball. Watch him on the sidelines. He is there on the sidelines, waving players forward, getting really genuinely frustrated. When
it's not the only time, isn't it, either?
No, but it's the one that really stands out.
Yeah.
Because I just remember the backlash of it. But I think you're right that, it is a combination of both. He is a defensive-minded manager and he does want the control.
Yeah.
Those things are absolutely, as you say, cast iron. But, as I say, it is this desire to not give the ball away and to worry about giving the ball away, particularly as we get later on in games when you've got to win. And I think, I was talking about the lack of trust in Gyökeres. I don't think it's a lack of trust in Gyökeres in terms of as a player. It's a lack of trust maybe in his ability to retain and recycle the ball and keep possession.
That's what I mean. He was not.
No, I was agreeing with you. Sorry.
I think it's more that he's just going to take a pot shot. He doesn't care if it goes in the goal or not. And Erdegaard wants to predominantly retain possession rather than attack and go for goal.
Yes, I think that's absolutely correct.
I think that's what it is, to be honest. And I mean, I don't know how long that can maintain in the team, to be honest.
What the sort of the safety or the
the conservative approach. And I do take into account, right, that I'm not saying, right, that this has got to change the next game, but I'm saying that next season is got to be something different, right? It's got to be a bit more expansive. But my hope anyway is that we get a few better players in the summer and actually beef up the squad. I still said, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. I still think we need a marquee signing, maybe even 2 in the summer. I mean, even more so if we don't actually win anything. That's going to be huge, to be honest. But at this moment in time, I don't, by hook, by crook, I don't care if every goal goes in how Gyökeres scored against Atletico. I don't really care. I'm not bothered by that point. But I will say, if you're watching the PSG Bayern game, I do worry for us in the final against those two, to be honest with you.
They are quality sides, aren't they? I mean,
yeah, they're really good, and they've got flair players. And when the team aren't playing well, the individuals are playing well. And I think really we've only had defenders and Rice doing that this season, to be honest.
And moments from other players, but they're few and far between, and not necessarily consistent.
Brief moments, but that's what I'm saying. There's no consistency amongst anybody else. And when you think that everybody says, "Oh yeah, we're conceding more chances, we're doing this, that, and the other," well, yeah, we are, because we're 1 in, 1 out with the fullbacks, basically. So it's Timber's a massive loss, as we see again. Even White can't get anything consistent again.
He's really struggling for me at the moment, Ben White. I think
Yeah,
he was the right choice against Newcastle, funny enough, because I felt that his attacking play might be quite important in that game, but he is really struggling. I think he's a cast iron go in the summer for me if someone comes in for him. But I think anyone thinking we're going to get 30, 40 million and most of our money back, I think it's not going to happen with his injury history and
no,
the sort of form since he came back.
we'll be looking to get 20, I think.
I think if you took 20 right now, you take it all day long.
Yeah.
But there'll still be some sort of profit in terms of PSR in the bank, not actual profit obviously because he was a 50 million signing, but there will be
He'll be off. He's off anyway, isn't he? Long paid off, isn't he? So
yeah, exactly.
So it is profit anyway now.
Yeah, in terms of PSR, and
obviously it's not transfer profit, but it is profit in terms of
the regulations at this point.
Yeah.
But you are right that is a big thing for us. The advantage being in a one-off game is that we know we can limit sides to different chances, but to few chances, and if you can do that, is there been a goal?
2-1, yeah.
Which way?
PSG.
There you go. They come from behind. But we can limit their chances. But if there are two sides in Europe that can create those chances, it is those two. But in terms of the attack, I think in terms of next season, are we going to see free-flowing football like 22, 23? No, but I don't think the league is going to see that for a few years anyway. But I think some of this is also, we talk about the mental side and we talk about the control side. They are elements. But I think there was also that collapse of that left-hand side in terms of his output since Trossard got injured. I think Eze has started to step up into that role, and I actually think the Eze-Odegaard connection is starting to look relatively strong, actually, and so relatively promising. I'm not saying it's amazing, but you can sort of see how that's developing and how that works quite well. And I've long said that I think Eze is the natural.
My issue with that though is when we play with Eze there as well. We are playing basically the same way as when we've got Trossard and when we've got Martinelli there, who actually do the defensive work themselves. And I think that the left back has to take a bit more responsibility and basically just get up his backside a bit and just go. He can't really defend. We know he can't defend. He was probably culpable for one, maybe two of the goals that, maybe even both of the goals that's against City, because he kind of lost possession.
It's an area that's improved, but there's a lot more work to do.
Yeah, I don't want to see him there anyway. To be honest, I don't want to see him there in the defensive zone at all, because that's not his strength. I wouldn't play him there at all. In fact, I'd probably bring the striker back to that position more than put Eze there.
Yeah, you almost saw Gyökeres doing it at times against Newcastle.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, and they should be filling that void in behind him because they know that he's a bit culpable.
Yeah, and as I say, it's why I disagree with people. I don't know what you think about this, but people are going, well, we need goals, so we should just go Dalman and Eze. And I just like, there's no defensive protection there for the wing backs, for the full backs at all. And I do think I'd be worried about Eze and Calafiori unless you're sort of playing, one of the sort of weaker sides and you're going really not all out attack, but you know what I mean. But Hincapié will probably offer that protection for Eze. But I just think we have to remember that we still do have to defend, and it is still the strength of this team. And, Dalman and if you are 1-1, 20 minutes, 15 minutes to go, whatever, sure, go for it. If you're absolutely dominant, you're camped in. But the idea of
or vice versa, and you actually have to go for it.
Yeah. It's the last day of the season. You need a 2-goal, 3-goal swing. Then maybe you go for it. But the idea, people are calling for this tomorrow. Like, are you mad? Madrid have lost
against Newcastle as well, by the way.
Yes,
because it's like, have you forgotten that Newcastle have beat us? Have you forgotten that Newcastle drawn against us so much, and they never even come out of that game. They didn't want to win that game, or certainly didn't want to play for a win. They wanted to get one on the counter, but that was it. They were camped in their in their half, and they did the spoiling tactics as well. Even like we saw, they're 1-0 down and they're still wasting time. And
Yeah.
I do have a problem with that as well, actually. When you've wasted time and you're behind, and then that time gets added on because they've wasted the time and they get a chance right at the end of the game to claw back the game. And you're like, you shouldn't be doing that, man. Shouldn't be doing that.
No, I have no problem with Newcastle coming in the form they're in to sit deep, defend, and look to hit on the counter. I think that plays into their strength, particularly with some of the players they had missing to protect that back line. I think they were going to be physical and strong in the middle of the park, and I thought they dominated the middle of the park. Not dominate, I think that's going a bit far, but they were the better side in the middle of the park. They got the better of our midfield. But once you're 1-0 down, yes, maybe you hang in for another 15, 20 minutes, make sure it's not two. At some point, even if it's the second half, I think you have to come out a little bit. And people are saying, well, they had late chances. David Raya made one save. Like, yes, they should have.
Chance. They had one chance each half. That was it.
Yeah.
So I don't really buy that at all. But just the comments quickly.
Yes, we should do. Yeah.
Prancone, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I take it you're not in the UK, given it's afternoon, but afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. Evening, SJ. How are we, sir? Thanks for joining us. If you are in the live, please make sure you're hitting the like and the subscribe to the channel. We're live on Dom's channel as well, so go and hit a like over there as well. The name will come up once I've stopped doing the messages. You would risk Eze tomorrow? We have to go our strongest squad in every game. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Every game's important, man. If you want to just kind of dip out and just not bother about the Champions League, then that's on you. But I don't want to see that.
I want us to try and go and win the last 7 games. And I've said 7.
Someone wants to try to win the last 7 games, and we win those last seven games, and then it's an epic season.
Yeah, God, yeah,
absolutely epic, and all this furore and all this meltdown is for absolutely. And like you said as well, I've seen people where, oh yeah, you should start with Dowman. I want to see Dowman. I just want to see Dowman, and it's like these are the same people that basically saying that that he's ruined Saka. He's not rotated him. He started him too early. He relied on him too early, and this and the other. And you're like, what are you even on about? The geezer's 16. Let him. He's getting game time. Let him have game time when he's there. Say again.
He's doing his GCSEs.
Well, exactly. Yeah, he can't.
The Saka narrative, by the way, really annoys me. It really irritates me because we weren't good, right, when Saka was coming through. He was the star player. The reason he's called Star Boy is because he was our star player, right? No question about it. And he was so young. We didn't have replacements. The squad depth behind not just Saka, but other positions was really low. It's why I don't know about you, but I knew we weren't winning the league in those first seasons because we just didn't have the depth. It wasn't there. It had to be built over time. But these people also, and we all did, wanted to get Champions League football because you get Champions League football, you attract better players, you build a squad, blah, 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 blah. But if you want that, you need Saka. And you needed Gabriel, and you needed Saliba, and you needed these players. Thomas Partey, obviously at the time, you needed them playing nearly every minute of every game to get you there. So yes, as a result, they were overplayed, no question. But equally, the alternative of that is that you end up not getting the points you get to get yourself in the Champions League, which means you can't pick up the squad quicker. Now people say, well, you just go out and buy better players, but you've got to have something you can offer them. Some might come for money, but if they're coming for money, they're just coming for money. But who wants to be a backup player to Saka, for instance, when you're not getting minutes and you're not going to go and win trophies? You want both. You know,
Well,
and it is an
this is
element
the
of it.
thing when everybody slags off Madueke, and I didn't want Madueke. I have to say, I wasn't one. I'm not one that's going to sign a petition to say I don't want a player, but I did voice an opinion that I didn't particularly want him. But as soon as he's in the shirt, I support him. You know what I mean? And that's that. But you're not getting the profile of player to sit on the bench just behind Saka. You know that the manager's putting the Saka in first.
Yeah, and so he should, right?
And so he should. Yeah, I mean, he did at points this season kind of usurp him because he was coming back from injury, and he was doing better. Yeah, and then he got injured himself, and it pushed him back again. So it's always a topsy turvy way of looking at it. But yeah, I just don't. We need better players. I still think even now with the one in one out nature, I think I don't know if we're lucky to be where we are. I don't know whether to be impressed we are where we are. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I know that we are where we are. I would actually say City is a better squad now.
I think with their additions in January, it makes them as good a squad, if not maybe slightly
Very
better.
even,
They're in form as well, which kind of helps sort of edge it towards that sort of recency bias. But I think they're very similar. At the start of the season, I think Arsenal squad was better, and I think the big thing that's changed in the last few weeks is we've obviously hit a poor run of form. I think the nerves, as we talked about earlier, kicked in, and City have fixed that soft underbelly all of a sudden after Real Madrid. After the away time Real Madrid, they fixed that soft underbelly in the middle of the park where they could be got at and you could get at that back four really quickly. I don't know what he's done, but he has seemed to have fixed that issue, which had been troubling them for 7 months overnight.
I think he's just gone narrower, hasn't he? He's just gone narrower, and he's turned back into Rodri FC, really. But then, isn't Rodri out again now? I don't.
Yes,
I don't know if he's actually back.
He's reportedly out. Yes,
but
we'll see if he is or not. But
yeah, it was a bit weird because he went down holding his groin, and then they said it's some kind of either hamstring or not an Achilles, something thigh strain or something. And you're like, you were holding your groin. I don't really understand. So whether he's gone down thinking he's got something, but he hasn't got anything, and then karma's got him. I don't know.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting last few weeks.
Yeah. So do you agree with it? Because I didn't let you answer this. I'm sorry. Yeah. Would you risk Eze tomorrow, or is the Fulham game more important?
For me at this point, you concentrate. I know it's the old cliche, but you concentrate on the next game, get through that game, and then worry about the one after that. So I go full strength tomorrow. The only thing I don't risk Eze tomorrow would be and he is available for tomorrow, is if they are worried that he actually has an injury and that playing significant minutes tomorrow will likely lead to a setback that leaves him out for longer. Otherwise,
I would say as well that I think that it's been kind of a bit of a season where you haven't, or Arteta hasn't been allowed to kind of let the players kind of breathe back in. As soon as they're ready, they've played 25 minutes of that particular game because they've had to, and then the next game they're needed for the full 90. So I do think it's a bit of that. I do agree to a point of view that in some games Saka wasn't necessarily needed. He didn't need to come off the bench. He could have just been sat on the bench. Apparently, I was watching another stream, Guna Talk TV, I think, that said that Saka hasn't been an unused substitute since 2021.
I can believe that. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can believe that. I think the only pushback I'll give on that is, well, look, we don't know where it sits. The only pushback I'll give is the idea that you're giving him 10, 15 minutes because that is the best way to build up his body into playing games. I don't know. I suspect there's an element of both what you said and what I've just said, but we obviously don't know. But
what I mean is, to clarify, sorry, what I mean is that he's played 25 minutes, and instead of then going into playing 45 minutes, say, or 50 minutes, it's then got to be the full game because it's
because someone else has gone down.
Yeah, somebody else has gone down.
Yes,
that's
I agree entirely on that part.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying, really. I wasn't saying, and I wasn't holding it as an excuse either for the not rotating of players, because I do think they could have been better with some players. Certainly, Norgard should have played more minutes. I think he's been all right with the front line because purely he hasn't had any options with them. The defenders, I think he could definitely have done better.
I actually think he's done a reasonable job with the defenders, to be fair, with the but I think the two I sort of would.
We have got 40 of them though.
Yeah, but here's why I think he's done a reasonable job. I think he has genuinely protected them when they have had any kind of knock, and I think that goes throughout the whole team. But here's why I think defensive consistency is more important than anywhere else on the pitch, to get that understanding and not making too many changes in the back line. I think we spoke about this with Chelsea, and we're making a more general point, but it was true of their defense as well. They really struggle because they change very often. They're not quite sure, and just those little changes can sort of really impact your game and your positioning and your being where you should be. So I actually think he's got the defense right. The two I would say that should have played less. And I think it's been worse since Marino went out, because I don't think there's quite the trust there for Norgard for whatever reason. I don't think Norgard's put a foot wrong, by the way. The two centre midfielders. Otherwise, I think he's got it relatively spot on with the rotation. This idea that he doesn't rotate at all is just factually incorrect.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think in some occasions as well that he doesn't necessarily need to play Rice and Zubimendi together. I think he could have just played one. And again, I do agree with Marino going down a little bit, but yeah, to be honest with you, I think it's I definitely think that's a bone of contention, that midfield. It does feel a little bit safe, and it did open up a little bit by allowing the fullbacks to get a bit higher, but both DMs kind of sat deep then. So basically Rice would be in between the two centre-backs. And
they almost switched around with the fullbacks, didn't they?
Yeah, so I think it's a bit... yeah, it is a bone of contention for me, that one. But yeah, look, I mean, we can all criticise, can't we? I mean, at the end of the day, if we don't win the title, the book doesn't stop with us, does it? It's not going to be...
no,
us getting the pelters and whatever. And there's people saying, "Oh, yeah, well, you can't talk about the performances and such like, and you can't discuss why it's going on and whatever." Of course you can, of course you can, but for me, I don't think it's primarily the reason that we're playing badly, but I also thought that playing badly and getting results was the main aim, really. Not the main aim, but you know what I mean? If you can't win playing good, then win playing bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the top and bottom of it. But yeah, there we go. Hammers Football TV says, evening gents, sorry couldn't join as working, hitting the like button. Yes, join Hammers TV in hitting the like button and sharing this out and subscribing to the channel. That'd be much appreciated and welcome in. Thank you very much indeed. Broncone, I never felt Newcastle was a threat. I didn't really. I mean, there was a couple of palpitations, I would say, but that was more.
This chance was where he missed.
I don't think it was really from the chances. I think it was more from our play that kind of everybody calls it risk averse, but we seem to risk it more in our back five, back six, back seven, whatever it was at the time. And
when it's 1-0, there's always that nervousness, isn't there?
Yeah, give us all a heart attack. To be fair, so is it 3-2?
I
think it's
yes, it is 3-2. Yes.
Yeah, PSG scored a
penalty.
So yeah, I didn't know if it was a rerun of another one because I've got
Do you know the irony? I looked at it, saw it was 3-2, and thought, oh. And of course, it was 2-2 a minute ago. I already thought it was 3-2. I mean, I always thought this would be a difficult game, by the way, the Newcastle one. And I also thought it was going to be an attritional game. But in the game, I don't think I wasn't nervous because of Newcastle. I was nervous because we might make a mistake because we hadn't.
It reminded me of the Brighton game.
Yes, yeah.
It reminded me so much of the Brighton game. Where there was a lot of control. There was a lot of I mean, there was quite a lot of time wasting, I guess, but the time wasting was more their side than it was our side, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
It did remind me of very stop start, very no not motion. You know what I mean? It was just
no urgency.
No momentum. So it was you couldn't really get any momentum going. So that's what I was thinking. Really.
It was also one where it wasn't on the referee this time. Whereas I thought the referee at the Brighton game did not help that game one little bit.
Yeah, I mean he kind of bought every decision, didn't he? And I actually thought that in this game, I think he was. I don't know if he was letting it go too much, but it was like that there was an element of that, but. Like you say, it wasn't on him. I just think it was. I think it was just stop start. I mean, did you see Dan Burn that basically on a booking wanders off with the ball 30 seconds, perfectly fine, not a problem. Just throw the ball back. Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
I mean, I did see that, but as you were saying earlier, it's an odd thing to do. You're losing the game.
Well, this is the thing. It's like you're actually wasting your own time, but somehow you manage to get it back at the end of the game. I don't really understand.
It almost felt like Newcastle were in a position where they'd almost rather lose the game 1-0, for goal difference, isn't it? With the way they were sort of wasting
it was time. Odd. It was very odd. It definitely was.
I'll tell you the other one, which might even be a better example here, was the Chelsea semi-final. Where actually Newcastle were losing and had to try and get something because it was so early. Whereas Brighton, as you say, it was very similar to that, but there was at least some attacking effort. They could get the ball in that final third. They just lacked the quality in the final third to hurt us.
Wasn't it the Fulham game as well early in the season? It was quite. Didn't we were like 2-0 up or something, and they just never showed any urgency to come back out.
Yes. But Fulham at the time were in an awful run of form as well.
Yeah, probably. Because there was on about getting sacked, wasn't he, at that time?
Yeah, they were struggling down near the bottom, and they had injury. So I kind of half understood that because actually it was sort of a free hit for them, if you like. But actually, I think had he gone for it, he could have lost that 4 or 5, and I think that could have really had a major
nail in the coffin sort of thing.
Yeah, whereas he loses it 2-0, he lives to fight another day. So I kind of understood that one, but yes, that's another good example of the type of fixture.
SJ says Rice, Zubi, Odi midfield. Fulham game is more important. We have a second leg versus Madrid. Nick a draw away. I think a draw. I don't even know if a 1-0 loss is okay. 1-0.
If you offered me a draw right now, I would take it. I know I said we've got to win. I want to win the next 7 games. What I mean is I want to be in the Champions League final. I want to win our last 4 Premier League games. Is what I really mean in reality. But I think a 1-0 loss is probably the worst result we can accept in terms of giving ourselves a really decent chance of going through. I think 2-0 is going to be
Yeah,
a big
2-0
ask. And I
fair.
know we won 4-0 early in the season, but this is a different Madrid side.
Different
It's a
side.
very different scenario.
Yeah, and the thing is, we have to play like we have to not play with control. Then we literally have to switch up very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if we remember that game as well, we had a purple patch where we scored 2 or 3 goals in 15 minutes, and that was a tie. That's unlikely to happen a second time.
Broncon says apparently he's in a group chat with you, Dom. This would be the last game where we could slightly give a rest to a player, hence a 30-minute cameo. Broncon, who are you talking about there? Are you talking about Eze? Or have you got somebody else in mind?
I think may well have been.
Maybe Dowman, but still 30 minutes is a bit long, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you not think?
Yeah. I wouldn't go that long.
I'd probably say 15, 20 minutes. I wouldn't necessarily go with half an hour, to be honest with you, unless we're really struggling.
Yeah, unless you're desperate for a goal. But even then, let's say it's 2-0. Do you want to risk a third behind? Because 2-0, well, I wouldn't bet on us getting past, and I'd be very nervous about trying to turn that round.
Yeah.
I think it is still doable. 3-0 becomes impossible. But if you're 3-0 down, then maybe you have to go for it and go, do you know what? 3-0 and 4-0 makes no difference. So let's go for it.
Yeah.
Is that you, Spencer, by the way, Bronco? If so, that's correct. I might be missing someone, but
okay. So he says league games have to be best 11 periods. Second leg, best 11. Okay, so he's up for a bit of rotation for the first leg, by the looks of that. Roll the sacrifice tomorrow to ensure we have Eze, Odegaard, Saka for remaining games. I mean, that's an interesting take as well. I'm not sure I'd risk that myself. The problem is that you even though we've got a preferable draw, you have to take everything on face value and basically give everybody the same chance and worry about the opponent that's in front of you. You get the job done and then get out of dodge, because I mean it's gonna be wild over there tomorrow. So
yeah, the atmosphere is going to be immense, and apparently it's a possible thunderstorm. And Spencer, sorry, I didn't recognise your handle. Or as I said, I proper high earlier, but yeah, thanks for popping in.
Go. Brock Lyle 407. Greetings, big one tomorrow, Gunners. Absolutely, yes, big one, and thank you for joining us. Make sure you're hitting the like and subscribe, both channels. When we stop going through chat, you'll see Dom's, but we'll get it in there as well. Biggest annoyance was Havertz and Eze injuries. Fitness concerns irritated me more than the play itself. The thing is, I don't think that they were kicked about necessarily. I just think that they had knocks. I mean, I don't think players are protected from players standing on their boots and stuff like that. I just think that that's a bit of a nonsense. But yeah,
hard to spot, but I would agree. Should we very quickly just jump to SJ, because he's looks like he's off to Madrid shortly. Before he jumps off, safe flight, my friend.
Yeah, safe flight, SJ. Do some videos while you're out there and send them over.
And don't do what someone else did and book an early flight to Barcelona and then have to cancel it.
What's that?
So someone took a bit of a gamble to try and save money, and I can't blame them. This was before, as soon as the quarterfinal draw was made, and booked flights to Barca on the assumption we get through, and so would they. And then had to
I get that.
I get it. I actually, if you're looking to try and save money, because we all know how expensive it is, that is a really sensible sort of early choice. But yeah, had to make quick rearrangements.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably get an internal flight anywhere there.
I think that's what they did. Yeah, and then just cancel the hotel.
It's got to be cheaper. It's got to be cheaper than the rescheduling the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with SJ. I think a 1 goal deficit I think we can turn it around. I think anything more than that, then it's a different approach. I'm not saying it's impossible, but
A
yeah,
much harder outcome, isn't it?
much
I
harder.
agree.
Yeah, definitely making a rod for your own back sort of thing. As a yes, or even Saka to make sure they can be. Do you trust? I mean, Madueke might be injured again as well.
I think that's been really affecting him in recent weeks. That knee injury picked up with England. You know, we all know that he's frustrating in the final third. Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, I mean, we all know he's inconsistent in the final third. It's an area of his game that needs improvement. You know, I'm not against the signing. I'd have gone with someone else, but you know, I wasn't against the signing at the time. You know, we discussed it then, but I really think it is hampering him at the moment. I really do, and that's why I wouldn't want to start with Madueke. I'd actually, if Saka can't do 90 tomorrow, I would actually start with Martinelli on the right. I really would.
Does that depend on Trossard though?
No, I think you can go Eze on the left.
No, I mean Trossard availability for the league game.
As I say, I'm going to worry about tomorrow, and then I'll worry about the league game on Friday.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, tomorrow I go Eze, Odegaard, Martinelli if Saka can't do 90, and I think you know Trossard coming in against Fulham doesn't worry me overly anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. What's Fulham's form like anyway? Because I've
let me have
I haven't really checked any of that.
Fulham lost draw 1, lost draw 1.
Okay.
So with any luck, they're
in the same situ. Yeah, we'll go for the roulette. Yeah. So yeah, the roulette bet. We'll follow the pattern. Yeah, they can have the loss in that one.
Hopefully, yeah. That'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully they don't do a madness. But there we go. Says it's Spence. Giving gathering.
That was a group chat.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I was quite confused because I mentioned another stream, so I don't. Yeah. No. Yeah. When I mean rotation, like starting Martinelli, Trossard up top, and second half bring Eze and Saka on, if that makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean our problem, and I think it's a long standing problem is that left wing is an issue now. Is Eze going to play there long term? Maybe. I'm still not convinced he is.
I mean, for me, we talked about it before. The priorities are, you know, the best available left winger on the market this summer is a real priority for me. But I you know, Eze replacing Trossard would be where I'd be looking at in terms of how the squad sort of looks together.
As in the full squad, as in Trossard goes.
Yes, exactly that.
Okay, fine. Where would you, where would your head be at with transfers? As we've kind of touched on that already.
Yeah,
so the left wing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as you we've spoken about it before. Obviously, I know we're both in the same place where you worry about that at the end of a season. But I think,
of course, yeah. But I'm just
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Ideas, right?
But I mean, you know, you got to think about the numbers in the squad dictate that you need to lose players first before you sort of bring them in terms of overall numbers. But I would be looking at Ben White out, in comes someone else. I don't think I touch any of the rest of the defense unless you get mad offers to come in. You could possibly look at Calafiori for injuries, but I think I'm looking further up the pitch as the priority. So Ben White is probably the only defensive change I make. I'm happy to do goalkeepers. I know everyone hates Kepa, but it wasn't his fault he was picked in the final. I know he makes a clanger, but I think he's a decent enough backup goalkeeper. But if there's a chance for a profit there, you know, someone could come in 15 million or so. You take that, you turn around the 10 million and you go again. But I don't think you're actively sort of looking to upgrade there. You know, that's
no, but if you're getting somebody
opportunity.
if you're getting somebody for like 26 million and you can spread that over 3 years or whatever it is,
Exactly. It's a market opportunity, you know.
Yeah, it's a reinvestment, isn't it, from that kind of point of view?
You know, and I'm doing this from the point of view of where my priorities sit, and I think Ben White is that one. I think I'd be looking to bring in a potential another central midfielder unless Miles moves into that role permanently. You know, but you know, Norgard, and it's not a reflection on him. He might want to move on. But I'd rather, you know, Miles Lewis Skelly coming in there is absolutely fine. So I think the priorities for me then would be that left wing. And I think probably another forward coming in makes sense. I think if you're bringing in someone like, I always want to call him Aguero. I've done it again. What's his name?
Alvarez.
Alvarez. Thank you. I did it last night and all I could think of was Aguero. I think that probably spells the end for Kai Havertz. I think they're the same player. And I think Aguero is, I've just done it again. Alvarez is the better one of the two. But I think, you know, if I'm bringing in 3 positions this summer, I think it is that right back. I think it is centre forward. And I think it is a left winger. I think you can probably try and integrate Wanyeri back into the squad, but I think I could see him going out on loan anyway. And Dalman gets his minutes, but they would be the 3 players I'd be looking at. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still. Did you mention anybody for left wing?
What left wing? I didn't mention a name, but a left winger coming in definitely.
Okay,
it is my priority. Left wing, striker, right back with the 3 positions. Then it's a question of who goes out.
But you got nobody in mind for it. It's just.
I mean, my ideal would be Kvaratskhelia from PSG, but I've always thought that. I said it as soon as that came out. That's a smoke screen for a new contract.
Yeah.
Rodrigo is obviously out because he's got the ACL. Gordon is not my first choice. If you say Martinelli and Trossard go and you're going to have Ezra in the 10 rather than a left wing, then Anthony Gordon comes in for Martinelli, depending on the finances. You know, that feels like a straight swap to me. But, you know, I just think you go for the best left winger available on the market this summer. I don't know who that will be.
Yeah, there was mootings of Williams again, but
I think Williams for Martinelli again. That kind of feels right. The right switch.
Yeah,
rather than coming
the thing
in.
is a little bit more tricky, a little bit more direct. Yeah, can use his eyes at times.
Yeah, but what I mean by the Martinelli is, you know, that's the kind of level of switch. What you could do, of course, would be: do you go? Let's say Trossard and Martinelli move on. Do you go Ezra and let's spitball and go Nico Williams, and then you've got no number 10 backup? Do you then go and try and get a lights out number 10 in? You know, like I don't know what's his name at Bayern Munich, Misala, someone like that. You know, that's another option you could look to go to. Do one of the other Paris boys want to come out of Paris? You know, and try their luck. I mean, people keep talking about Dembele on the left wing. I'd be cautious about that
because it wouldn't be Dembele. You might get Doué maybe, but
Doué feels more likely. The reason I wouldn't go Dembele is because he's on great form anyway. The reason I wouldn't be, I think he's well suited to France. It's warm. It's not too physical, and I think that helps him manage his sort of.
He's had his injury problems, hasn't
and
he?
I don't think he would cope well in the Premier League. But you know, they're the options. I think you want a lights out, you know, player come in. I'm fairly sold on Alvarez for Havertz, and that's not a criticism of Havertz. That's more a reflection on, you know, I think that's the type of thing I'd look to, because I don't think there are many absolute world class number 9s beyond Haaland and Kane really, and I don't see either as a real sort of option there. You know, an interesting one would be: do you bring in someone like what's his name, the young Madrid forward who's out on loan at Lille, Endrick. Yeah. Do you bring him in?
I think a major injury early as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think if you do that, I don't think you are looking to move on Havertz or Gyökeres. I think he comes in as a complementary piece at this point.
I don't think Gyökeres will go anywhere. I think you might.
Gyökeres isn't going. No.
I think it'd be Havertz and Jesus, and I think that they get one replacement for the two.
Yes, because I think Wanyeri comes in for Jesus.
Yeah.
Unless he goes out on loan, at which point maybe you're looking for a stopgap. And I don't mean this player, and obviously he was horrific, but what I mean by a stopgap would be you do like like we did with Sterling or Willian. And I don't mean those players, but what I mean is it's an older player that you're getting in for a year or so to cover the Wanyeri absence rather than, you're looking for a permanent replacement, because I think you want to make sure that the pathway for Ethan remains there. And that's why I use those two as examples. There, obviously, we will get a better quality than that, should get a better quality. But you're looking for that 1-2 year, the NFL called it a rental. You trade for a player in the last year of a contract, it's a rental.
Exactly. This is a very good point, by the way, because, I don't know how long Timber's out for, because we never seem to get an update on it. It just seems to be pushed and pushed and pushed. But Marino's back running on grass. He's back training properly. Not full training, obviously, but he's off the crutches. And I think Marino has been a massive miss.
Yes,
Absolute insane how much he's been missed. Not just for the ability. I say ability because he does turn like a truck. Let's be completely honest about it. But he's very efficient, right? And
he had something different, doesn't he?
He does, but he kind of offers the same as Ødegaard in a weird way, because it adds to the control. Because that where he actually does the long ass turn, Marino seems to do it for a purpose and it seems to go somewhere, whereas Ødegaard recently hasn't gone anywhere, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think when Marino does it, I think he does it for a reason, and then he finds an option. Obviously, also can pop up in the box.
Physical presence.
So basically offering the same as Gabriel, really, for that kind of heading ability. He's got a decent finish on him as well. But I think the leadership as well, I think that has been missed.
Yeah.
And everybody talking about future captain, where we're talking about Gabriel, should be very wary of putting Gabriel as anywhere near the actual captain's armband, because I just think he's a hothead. He's stamped out the idiocies, but you can still see the brain ticking, can't you? You can still see the fire burning. So, and kind of proved that against Haaland, I guess, for want of a better example. So, yeah, very lucky to not to get sent off in that one for me.
Yeah. If Haaland goes down there, Gabriel's walking out 3 games.
It shouldn't rely on him going down, to be honest with you.
I agree with you,
but I also I don't think the goal should have stood, because I think what Haaland did and kind of dragged him back and used him as force. So I don't think that should stand.
I think if that gets picked up, I think I agree with you. I'm not going to go off the deep end about that. I think I do agree with you, but I'm not going to lose it over that. I think for me, Kushanov, was it Kushanov? That's a red card. I think that does change the game. That's the one.
Yeah, absolutely a red card for me as well.
Yeah, and you are right, by the way, that Haaland doesn't need to go down. VAR should be looking at and going, that's a clear. Yeah. But what I mean is the referee probably sees it instantly and it's a red card, and then VAR aren't overturning it.
The thing for me, I've seen it on other streams where people have said exactly the same thing. I think the ref is too focused on the occasion rather than refereeing the game. He doesn't want to send Kuzinov off because he doesn't want Arsenal to have an easy ride, and he wants to keep all the men on the field and this, that, and the other. And having let that go, he then thinks he owes one, maybe.
Possibly. And I look, I think it's admirable, but you have to referee what is going on by the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And I think there's one thing, and this goes both ways, but I think there's one thing in these situations where you are letting the 50-50s, the robust challengers go, but they're within the rules of the game, and you're not you're not giving a yellow card that you could give a yellow card for, because you're trying to get the game through, and then clear dogsos or clear violent conduct, which both the Gabriel and Kushnoff ones were for me. Same again with Nick Pope at the weekend.
Yeah. I mean the Nick Pope one. I listened to Keith Hackett's explanation on, I think it's Inside Out or whatever it is, but he basically saying that he doesn't have control of the ball, he doesn't do this, doesn't do that. Well, I'll tell you something now. Evan Nielsen didn't have the ball when Saliba got sent off either. It was still pinging up in the air and it was bouncing all over the place. And yes, the keeper was up, and if he gets a touch on it, it's virtually a clear goal. But the keeper's not in the goal.
Well, and this is what I was going to say. I agree. He hasn't got control of the ball. The issue is it's 4-2, by the way.
I was just about to look for that.
Kvaratskhelia. But the reason I don't think it matters in this situation is because I think he has sufficient time to get to the ball. He's past the goalkeeper and roll it in. If he does that in the 6-yard box and he's not got control of the ball, or he's really wide, you can make an argument that it's not dogso because he's going away from goal potentially, or hasn't got time to get back control of the ball. He has plenty of time to get back control of that ball for me, and that for me is why that it is a dogso and it's a red card.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say. I mean, he didn't just try and wipe him out with a sliding tackle. He completely. I mean, the ball's gone.
Yeah,
the ball is gone, and you can't use the excuse it's running out of play because it's freaking not. It's nowhere near
exactly.
Play. So the ball's held up in the grass there, and he's just got to run round him, and I don't know if he's taken into account who is picking it up, but that's probably what's gone on. But that should never happen. Should never happen. We were told it doesn't matter who the player is. There should be an analysis based on who does what. It should be purely based on the situation, not the actual player. But I bet they actually use the actual player as the crowning glory as to why it wasn't actually Dogso. But yeah, it's twice this season from Pope, by the way.
Yes, I was going to say it's maybe he has the real Pope on his side. I don't know, but twice.
It's a bit mad. I mean, the first one, I don't necessarily think that's. I don't necessarily think it's a red card, but it was definitely a penalty. The first one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Spencer, you say it is?
Yes.
Okay, it's easier to say than that.
Yeah. It's why I didn't recognise his handle at all. Yeah. I thought it was coming from your chat, not mine.
No, clearly from yours. But yeah, Trossard out for me. 2 additional forward players, right back squad for me. Yeah,
he's basically sort of saying the same as I, which is your forward, your left winger, and your right back.
Yeah, I think like you say, if you got Alvarez, say a Williams or somebody of that ilk, Fresneda at right back, maybe.
Yeah, I mean
5-2.
Yeah, wow. Dembele.
That is mad. Oh my god. The thing is,
I get that from Brentford, so we can actually at least take the accusations that we do long throws all the time. They can become accurate for once. I mean, Coyote. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against Livramento if it wasn't for the injuries, but
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd really like? And this is dream world stuff because it's not going to happen. I would really like to have a fully fit Tomiyasu back.
Yeah, but I would argue that that Ben White is that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Tomiyasu is better than Ben White right now, and I mean, Well, yeah, you actually you're right. I'd like really pie in the sky. I'd like to have a fully fit Ben White back. That would be the ideal. But you know, as I say, I don't think either of those two players are going to fully recover anymore. Unfortunately,
No, I don't think so either. We'll keep Martel for rotation purposes, but I only see him wanting to be a backup. He probably goes in the summer. The thing is, I mean, he's done really well in the Champions League, so you know,
in a side where you need 5 wingers, I'm not against Martinelli staying because I think he can play either side, and I think he offers you something different. So I'm
you
not
don't play
against him
5
staying.
wingers though.
No, I'm saying if you have 5 wingers, you know, I'm not against. I'm not. Basically, my point is, I'm not against him being a squad player at all.
Do you
But
think we'll go
I
back to
think
wingers?
I'd like to see us go back slightly more to wingers. But certainly, I've no problem having sort of one tucking in on one side and sort of more of the winger on the other side. But my point basically I was talking about on Martinelli was I think if you get the right offer, you absolutely take it to someone. But if you don't, I think you stay. I think I have no problem with him being part of the squad.
Yeah, I think that they're probably, for the size of the wage bill now, they're probably looking more elite players. Do you know what I mean?
I think so, and I think that's what you want, right?
Yeah,
As I
it's kind
say,
of reflective. Rather than overpaying for mediocrity, they're trying to overpay for better quality, I
yeah.
think.
I agree. I think in the summer we're more likely to see 3 attackers come in as well. By the way, because I think we will see. Obviously, we see Jesus go. I think we'll see wheher go out on loan, and I think we'll see 2 go. I don't know which 2, but I think we'll see 2 go this summer. I mean, people are talking about everyone bar Saka and Dalman go and Eza. I think that's mad. Like that's not going to
Who said
happen.
this? No, sure.
There are elements of the fan base that are sort of making this point online that everyone goes bar Eza, Dalman, and Saka.
The thing is, these are the same people. These are the same people that say we should walk the league, and
yes, exactly.
And it's like, hang on a minute, you've basically just thrown all our team away. So you basically said they're all shit.
Yeah. So which is it?
So
but also,
which
it's just not realistic, right?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I heard the same person basically say that we have the best quality team in the league, in Europe, whatever. And then he goes, all our attackers are shit and this, that, and the other. And you're like, which is it? Make your mind up.
It can't be both, right?
This manager, everything's this manager. It's like I almost think it's a setup to say, right, okay, well, he couldn't do it with the best team in the world, or well, of course he did it because he had the best team in the world. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of a bit of that.
I had a row with someone the other day because it was like
I can't believe that for a second.
Yeah, I know. And look, it was an idiotic statement they made, and but. And I don't think this represents a lot of people that are being ridiculous about this, but it does symbolise an element of the fan base. But it was every time we've won this season, it's the players. Every time we've lost, it's the manager. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
It can't happen. It can't be. It can't be true.
Exactly. The reality is that wins and losses are a combination of both. They're not necessarily the same percentage every game, but they are. That is reality. That it is not one or the other exclusively.
Yeah, I completely.
But there are elements that genuinely believe that is true.
And I would say that you can assign a little bit more proportion of blame in certain games. So you can say in a certain game, like the Wolves game, for example, I would probably put 70% of the blame on a manager because the substitutions were rubbish. The lineup was rubbish and whatever, but the players still got to play.
Yeah, I was going to use both Wolves games as the example where I thought in the first Wolves game, I put most out on the players because Arteta was going mental on the sideline, made kind of the right substitutions, was pushing them forward, and the players went out there thinking they'd won that. The second one, I think the exact reverse.
Yeah.
But again, it's 70-30 one way and then 70-30 the other way.
Exactly.
I think in a nutshell, it's the perfect example of what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Hear me out. Does Arteta's style set up for a Gyökeres style? Arteta wants a hold-up striker who can finish and do hold-up play. Alvarez and Havertz and Havertz with Gyökeres as a 9.
I don't think you have all three. Do you
I
mean
don't think you
instead of
can have all
Gyökeres?
3.
Unless you mean instead of Gyökeres, possibly Spence. I'm not sure, but I mean, I don't know what you think on this, but I'll very quickly cover this one, and then I'd be really interested in your view. For me, does it suit ideally? No, but I think it was a purchase which allowed us to play in different ways, and I think it allowed us to have that clap 5-3. It's just mental.
There's just no defending whatsoever. It's all attack.
Yeah.
It's like
It's going to be it's going to be attack v defense in the final, isn't it? If whichever one, Madrid or
it
Arsenal,
certainly
make it
looks that
through.
way.
But I think it was about having a different profile of striker, a real clinical in the box that we didn't have in the squad. So no, I don't think it's as ideal for Gyökeres. I do think there have been adaptations to it. I think the reason we haven't seen the adaptation that maybe Arsenal fans wanted is because Arsenal are one of the best sides in the league. When we were flying with Jesus up front, 22, 23, teams didn't fear us and they gave us more space. We don't have that luxury now. So therefore you have to play a little bit differently.
Yeah,
but I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think basically teams got a little bit braver, and it's like, okay, well, maybe they can actually be got at, because we don't necessarily have to worry about the defending side so much. So they're actually being a little bit more adventurous than they were, but they're not really being adventurous either. So that's kind of, they're playing higher lines, so playing fully defensive, but playing on a break.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we can get at them just by doing a break, because
yes,
because we're under the pressure to score. So we've got all our players high up,
pushing forward,
and they go, well, thank you very much, we're on that line. Thanks.
And we have, we have the highest defensive line in the league as well, which people don't like to talk about. We're too negative and we sit deep. No, we don't. We are the highest. We have the highest line in the league and have done all season, literally since game 1.
The thing is, what I would change is, instead of Rice being in between the centre backs and on that defensive one, I'd have one of the fullbacks stay back permanently, and then one of the fullbacks bomb up.
Yeah.
So basically, you've got a back
in
three,
rotation, if you like, depending on which side you're attacking.
You've got Rice in front of him, or Zubimendi. Then a bit higher, you've got the other one, whichever one is in the pivot. And then you can develop from there. I think that there's often a case where we're just the wrong people are covering. If you get what I mean.
I agree with you, and I think the other thing I would add to that would be, I'd like to see Rice and Zubimendi rotating that run forward a little bit more, and being a little bit braver in attack, or even, as you say, at times both of them going with the fullback staying, just to vary it up a little bit.
What I think should happen more, though, is I think that instead of the actual double pivot, I think once that you kind of get the control in the game, then one should be in front of the other.
Yes, I do. Yeah, exactly.
And you basically pivot it that way, so that they're not side by side, because obviously side by side they're not really any use to anybody.
No, so I agree, and that's what I was referring to. That it doesn't have to always be Zubimendi behind Rice. It can be.
Yeah, it can flip. But Marino has elite vision with awkward technique. I think that was. I'm not sure his technique's awkward, is it? I mean,
I think it's I know what he means. I know what Spence means here. It's one of those ones where it
5-4
looks. It's unbelievable. It looks clumsy.
Offside.
There we go. It looks clumsy, right? I don't think the technique, as you say, itself is awful, but it looks really clunky. And I think if you change awkward for clunky, then I think that's spot on.
Yeah. I mean, turns like a truck, kind of, put it a bit.
Yes. It's why, in many ways, I prefer him in the 6 to the 8.
Yeah.
But his ability to crash the box late is really helpful.
But then I think he's wasted there as well, because he does have a bit of attacking prowess as well.
Exactly. That's what you lose, is his ability to go banging into the box.
Yeah.
Late, if you play
the box crashing is what you've missed, right?
Yes.
So I think whether Rice does it, whether Marino does it, I think that's what we've missed. And I think that by holding one of the fullbacks back and Rice or Zubimendi being proactively above each other, you get the box crashing back.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably let both incidents go.
This was
not
we're talking about the
ruin the game.
this was what we're talking about with
Yeah,
Gabriel and
I mean that's the thing, and that's what I'm saying with them refereeing.
goal's been given. It's back to 5-4.
Yeah. I saw the line, and it looked very tight, to be fair. But yeah, that's what I was saying. That they deal with it from that point. So yeah. Tie probably over at this stage. It's 5-4 now. It's back on. Game on.
Yeah.
There is no defending. It's all attack. It's yeah. I mean, I dread it. I don't think it's going to be like this tomorrow.
No.
No. I mean, I will say that Atletico are very much more proactive than they used to be. But whether that carries into the Champions League as well, I don't know. I heard people say 10 people need to go. What, this season? I mean, last season I heard people saying 10 players need to come in. But yeah, 10 players definitely don't need to go.
But this narrative is going around again now. Yeah.
Absolute madness. And if that's the case, then you can't blame the manager, right? Because there's 10 players that are just shouldn't be in a title race, then, yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So you make the topic. If your topic is Arteta needs to go because of this, and I'm not the one defending Arteta as such, I'm just saying, well, if 10 players need to go, then he hasn't done such a bad job to get us into a title race before, like four games to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have problems that we're still at this point in the title race, and we didn't kind of make up extra points, you know.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I could go on a rant about our fan base while wild takes I hear. It's just madness, man. It is just madness, and
there's nothing wrong with objective criticism. We do it on here, but it has to be rational. Like
balanced. It's just balance.
It's balance, exactly.
Balance. Just seriously, why does it have to focus on one thing all the time?
Yeah,
and that's all that seems to happen. And right now, everybody's going, oh, this style of play, and it's all really boring. And that's if I left the Premier League title, I don't give a crap how boring it was. And
I also don't think it'll be the reason why we lose the title either. I think it will be the fear factor.
Well, but this is the point, isn't it? Because it's what happens in the last 6 games, and the title race with Liverpool, we didn't go to the last 6 games, so they didn't do it then. They didn't do it 22-23. So
it really annoys. It
just needs to get over the line.
Just no play. Yeah, that's exactly. The first title is so hard to win, isn't it? It's just so hard to win. You know, Gary Neville talks about it. Ferguson spoke about it. Klopp spoke about it with Liverpool. You know, Mancini spoke about it, City. You know, so hard. But once you get that first one, it lifts everything.
The thing is that there just seems to be different rules for Arsenal. There really does, and it's like,
and that's within our own fan base.
Yeah, I know, but then you've got rival fans who are basically, City have shown us this and that and the other. Well, they've also shown us the other side of it.
Yeah,
you know, and then the money spent argument comes out, and you're like, well, you know, Pep spent half what Arteta spent in his whole time in 3 transfer windows. So yeah, and then you get net spend and all that stuff. So, you know, it's just a bit nonsense, really.
Yeah. By the way, just really quickly before you do these, do you reckon? I really wish whoever's got this game tonight. By the way, I wish they could just roll out Alan Hansen for one evening to talk about the defending.
Imagine. Who's the other one? Sunez always does a thing on defending, but he was an attacker, and I never really understood it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, actually, really interesting. I don't know if you caught Carragher. I don't like Carragher as an analyst and a pundit. Afternoon, evening, Tim, by the way, I hope you're well. But he did a really interesting breakdown of our short corners, actually, and gave Arsenal a lot of praise for the way they drew out Newcastle. It was a really interesting 2 or 3 minute segment he did on it. If you haven't seen it, do watch it. And I don't like Carragher.
I can't watch him, to be honest. My patience has gone. So
Yeah, I agree with you, but honestly, that analysis was quite good.
I completely get it, but the thing is, it's not the first time we played them all season, and we played them against Southampton, played them against Mansfield. I think we played one particular one in the Champions League as well.
I was going to say Champions League. I'm trying to remember which game it was. It wasn't the Atletico game.
I think it was the Atletico game.
I was going to say I thought it was Bayern we did it against, but it could have been Atletico. It was one of the big guns. It was one of the big guns.
I think it was Atletico because we scored 2 set pieces, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just reshaped the balls into. Trying to think. Well, Gabriel scored one, didn't he? And who scored the other one? Because that was header as well. Oh, it was a Gabriel header,
and Gyökeres tapped
and
it
it dropped to Gyökeres, didn't it?
Yeah.
But I think we started it there, to be fair. But yeah, this is another one where it says good transfer. It's Berta, poor transfer, Arteta. But the problem is as well is that basically everybody's criticising Berta now, and basically going, oh well, his transfer window wasn't very good at all anyway, was it? So it's yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you have to see how things pan out over a season or two to really assess a transfer window. But I still think the transfer window is a really good window, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there were that many, if any, misses in this transfer window. True misses. You know, there's some average ones you could argue, but equally, I think most of the average ones are the ones where they were brought in to be those sort of, depth pieces in the squad.
I mean, Gyökeres is the one, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's kind of brought it down a bit, but
equally, he needs 2 more goals for 20, which is what we were asking for.
Yeah,
it's a build-up play that's the real concern because that hasn't developed.
It's the layoffs, it's the hold-up, and whatever that's a problem for me.
Yeah, and you can see it with that pass at the end. Like I could hit that pass. But I mean, admittedly, scored a great goal yesterday. Just saying. But my first since 2010.
You also said you were retiring.
Yeah, I know. I'm not retiring. I went straight back out and played the second game.
Well, that's what I mean.
Masterclass.
But that's what I mean. That was a lie. So
yeah.
It was clearly not the case. So
yeah, it was the actual message where the full message, which I didn't forward on the whole lot of. And she said, see you on Friday, boys, because it was sent to the Friday night team where I played 9-a-side. But yeah, what was quite funny was actually, in all seriousness, when I scored that goal yesterday, 2 of my teammates in the second game were playing against me. And they're like, why can't you do that when you're playing for us?
I don't know. It's favoritism, mate.
Especially when I put it between one of their legs before standing up the goalkeeper, putting him down and then curling it into the far corner with my weak foot. It was a beautiful goal. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say with Gyökeres, I keep seeing United fans, Sesko's got all these non-penalty goals. Stats are stats. Who gives a fuck if he scored a penalty or not?
Yeah.
Especially
when you win some of them.
Yeah, I want my player, if he's won a penalty or if anybody else has won a penalty, to put the penalty in the back of the net. If he scored a penalty, happy bloody days. What I will say is, when I have a cup competition and my striker, who I bought in the summer for 68 million quid or whatever it was, I don't expect him to be 10th on the sheet of taking a penalty. I expect him to be in the first 5. And if he ain't in the first 5, he ain't that much good, is he?
No, I would agree. Unless you've got 5 of the world's best midfielders that take penalties.
Yeah, you got 5 Ronaldos.
Yeah. Or equivalent in other positions, then maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Hi guys, hi Khalid. How are we, sir? Nice to see you, sir. With Kai out for tomorrow, do you think this sort of game suits Gyökeres, or is Kai a big miss? I think Kai's a big miss to the squad as it stands at the moment. I think he started okay. I think he's had on-off performances. So yeah, any player in the squad right now is a miss because it's a player we can't turn to.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously, most likely Gyökeres, and there's Jesus on the bench and that. But what it's worth. Regarding Odegaard, flows like a figure skater when Marino can look clunky. Yep, like I said, they kind of do the same job though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Objective criticism is okay. Tribalistic criticism is what we hear a lot. People would rather be right than happy, and I see that so much, man, so much. It's just crazy. But yeah. Online Big Blue says hello. I think it's talking to you. Patient is gone like Dom's height.
Thanks, Tim. Although I did a charity stream with Tim for the NFL actually on Friday morning our time, which was great fun for the NFL draft. Which he wasn't at the draft party, so it was the first one in a while where it wasn't that, but that was good fun. Even if I was knackered on Friday for work.
I would add though, Dom's height hasn't gone anywhere. It just never was there.
Oh, I don't know. When I was 6 months old, I was pretty tall.
Tall to age ratio doesn't count. We have him on CBS with Henry Richard Carragher. Does a better, and he is remarkably better on that than he is with Sky.
It's almost like he's a caricature on Sky, isn't it?
Yeah, almost begs the question: what are the producers telling them to do on Sky? Just beg that question, doesn't it?
Well, someone that's sort of turned down stuff because he's been told to say certain things and he just won't do it. And I think you've got to respect that.
Who's that?
Which Terry talks about it, doesn't he? That he's turned down sort of shows and stuff because he's been told he's got to say X, Y, and Z by producers of the show.
Who said that?
Terry said it on his channel. That not
Terry
necessarily.
Fleurs.
Yeah, saying that he's turned down.
Yeah, well, he said he wanted to do, or BBC wanted him to do an interview about the stadium.
Yeah,
and
said they wanted him to say certain things.
He said they wanted to narrate him basically, and he told them to do one.
Yeah, which kind of gives you an indication that these things are happening now. Maybe you could say, well, he's making it up. I don't think so, but B, you look at it, and I sometimes look at
why would you make that up anyway?
Exactly, it'd be an odd thing. But secondly, you look at pundits, and there's just one example, right? That of them saying different things, totally different things on different shows, like wildly opposite, not like a slight deviation. Or do you know what? I've changed my mind on this because I've seen.
I watched the show, right, and this guy basically says outside of football, he doesn't bother about football. He doesn't do this, that, and the other. So, people get offended and whatever. It doesn't really count and whatever. And you're like, okay, you're an Arsenal fan. You're on a pod as an Arsenal fan. You are, whether you like it or not, you are representing other Arsenal fans. So, when you just put crap out, other people have to wear that, and that's not necessarily on you as what you're saying. It's also on other fan bases that are kind of taking that as everybody else's word. But I heard this same guy basically said, all our attack shit, Martinelli shit, Gyökeres shit, so and so shit. Can't remember exactly, and everybody except Saka, basically. 2 minutes goes by, and he's basically, well, I'm just assuming we're in the final of the Champions League, and you're like, what? What you've just done doesn't make any sense. What you've done is you basically said that's crap. You can't do anything, but it's automatically going to get through to the Champions League final.
How do you tie those two things together?
It doesn't make sense. It's like you've literally flipped a switch from one dumb narrative to another. And I understand if you're doing it for banter, but it does make us look fucking dumb.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, I can't remember exactly what I said. So this is, but I was taking the mick out of my Spurs mate the other day, you know, sort of saying, you know, you're looking forward to trips to Lincoln and stuff next year. But actually, then I spoke to him about, like, look, when you look at the Tottenham season seriously, you know, you've got to factor in X, Y, and Z. And, you know, it's still genuinely not over. It's a 2, maybe 3 horse race. Like, there was a difference between the two things. It was obviously a ridiculous statement, you know, that I made. Are you looking forward to Lincoln and you're never winning a game ever again?
Yeah,
You know,
of course.
You know,
but that's marking the banter with the serious conversation.
Exactly,
that's a different thing altogether. That's not literally just going, we're shit.
Yeah,
we'll be in the final. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I don't like the TalkSport guys, you know, but there are bits where you can tell it's banter, but they then follow it up with serious analysis, which is ridiculous as well. And you're just like, can you, you know, switch when you're doing serious analysis? Can you actually do some serious analysis? Actually, what, you know, and they're not the only ones.
I'd rather they literally announce it if they're doing banter.
Yeah,
and this bit's serious, or they have certain presenters who are just serious, and other presenters that are just there for banter. Because Goldstein, when he's coming out, basically going, "Oh yeah, of course, I don't want Arsenal to win anything. I'd rather City win it because, you know, this, that, and the other." You'd rather
which,
do
by
that
the way, makes no sense to me as a United fan. But there you go.
Well, you're a United fan from London, and you care more about what your mates are going to say to you, rather than your actual football opinion. That's what that says. And it'd be funny. It'd be funny, wouldn't it, if Arsenal don't win anything again? Yeah.
Someone just hit the woodwork. Did I just see that at the corner of my eye?
I don't know. I'm on a stream, so I haven't.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's Paris have hit the woodwork.
Okay, fair enough.
Still 5-4.
I mean, the thing is, they're exerting all this energy, and
well, it's fine because the French league will give them at least 30 days off.
No, but that's the same as a 1-0, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly the same as a 1-0, that. And everybody goes, "Oh yeah, well it's a lot better to win 5-4 than 1-0." Yeah, for the neutral.
For the neutral,
it's amazing. Yeah, I don't care. I want to win. I don't care about pleasing you, to be honest.
I mean, obviously, would I rather watch a 5-4 game than a 1-0? Almost certainly, yes. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's the same result, and you just want to win the game for your own team.
The thing is, I think I have less heart attacks in a 1-0 game than a 5-4 game.
Yes, ironically, yeah. I'm going to say that is the irony.
Yeah. So now, granted, if we're on the 1-0, where, you know, the opposition are peppering our goal and just having shots at goal and just not scoring, that's obviously different. But yeah, for the most part, anyway. Spence says we would have the same issues if we signed Sesko. Completely agree. That is my hot take. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think I think both have to be utilised to suit themselves. I think you have to play to their strengths, and I would also argue that that Sesko doesn't get some of the goals for us that he gets for United because we don't play the same way.
Yeah,
they're playing on the break and we don't play on the break. We can't play on the break because we're trying to break an opponent out.
And he's also barely playing. You know, he's not playing anywhere near the level of minutes he would be here, or playing with the same expectations either.
Yeah, I mean the minutes thing doesn't really bother me too much. It's just like whatever. But we'll see next season.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
and there's more time for him to adapt because he's got more time on the training pitch and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, but I mean, the pressure thing.
The pressure thing's a big thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he plays for Man United, so I mean, he's got a certain amount of pressure already. But yeah.
Yeah, of course, it doesn't come pressure free. But what I mean is, they're not in a title race right now.
Yeah, no, that's true. But we need a false nine profile. I think Alvarez is that.
Yeah.
I think he's that profile.
I mean, I think Havertz is that he's just not quite clinical enough. Albeit he's still, since he arrived at the club, the third highest goal scorer and assist as in combined that we have. And I think you also have to factor in he's missed most of the last year, uh, if not a bit longer. And also he had the first 4 or 5 months where he was awful because he couldn't adapt to that number 8 position, and he's still
Yeah,
number 3 in that chart. And obviously that doesn't take out all. It's not that he got 0 in those, but they were significantly lower.
yeah. I don't really. Yeah, I'm not one for the for him in a number 8. He's
No,
a
I don't
10.
want to see that.
He's a 10 or a false 9,
Yes,
basically.
I agree. I agree entirely.
That's so everybody basically. I've seen loads of people basically going, "Oh well, you can't profile him. You can't put a position on him."
I think
Like,
you definitely can.
but I just freaking did. I mean,
And I think it's
it's
spot
quite
on.
easy, really.
Yeah, it's very easy to. I think
Yeah,
it's easier to do him than it is, for sort of these players that sort of Ozil in many ways. I know Ozil was a 10, but he sort of floats around so easy. That's the wrong example, but those players that sort of float around don't seem to sort of stay in one position. That's a much harder position to profile in many ways. I think Havertz is really easy, as you say.
yeah,
It's a false 9 second striker. That's where he is.
yeah.
And
I
as I
mean,
say,
I will say as well that I think he's one of the better players with his back to goal.
yeah, I agree.
Facing on goal, I don't think he's necessarily all that at times, but I think with his back to
It's
goal,
fine, but it's not exceptional. The
yeah,
big
yeah,
issue that lets him down is how clinical he is, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah,
And that's where
yes,
you look to upgrade him. That's why I'm not against an upgrade. But what I do defend him with is the hate that he's absolutely useless, offers nothing. It's just not true. Either with the eye
the
test or with
thing
the
is,
stat
I
test.
still think he's made his money back from his transfer. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I think he's covered it.
I don't think it's groundbreaking what he's done, but he's done what Jesus did. He's done what Zinchenko did. Really, he's basically brought the team past their quality,
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So it's
yeah,
like, well, yeah, their quality's here. We started here, and we're now here.
yeah. As with all players, you then look and go, do we move up another level? Can
Yeah,
we?
well, that's
What's the next step to move up another level? But that should always be what we're looking
but
to.
that's the trick, isn't it? Because obviously you can't do sideways steps all the time. You've got to do upward steps at some point.
Yes.
Khalib says, "Hope you well. I hope you well too, sir. You're making sure you're hitting the like and sharing the live. And subscribe to the channel. Much appreciated. If our attack is bad, how have we scored the fourth most goals in Europe this season? Yeah, I mean it's certainly faltering at the moment though,
Yes, that
and
is true.
you know, as much as um it's not as bad as everybody says it is. It's definitely on a not so rich vein of form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To says, I'm not giving up on Gyökeres. I would love to see a 4-4-2 where one striker plays as talkie and the other the false nine. I think you'll be waiting a very long time. I
I
have
agree.
to be honest with
But
you.
in certain aspects of games, you might see, and we have seen it at times this
We have
season.
seen it
But
where it's
I think it's
kind of
very
like
game
that.
state related.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think. Did Pep resort to a 4-4-2 this season?
Possibly at times, but I don't recall him certainly I don't recall him starting with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm not overly convinced that will ever happen, to be honest with you. But there we go. Right, score prediction for tomorrow, sir.
Well, I was going to say we haven't previewed the game. I mean, I think this is going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because they've got the ability to hurt us, and I think we're going to have to be very, very defensively solid. For me, I think they've got pace, they've got attacking ability, but they're not the defensive side they used to be. I think we will lose this one by 1 goal. I think we're going to lose it 2-1. I think this will be our first defeat. But right now, you offer me 1-1, and I'm taking it all day long. How about you?
I think it'd be a 1-1 or we win it 2-1.
Really? I really, really, really hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. But
I think the danger for us is playing through that press. I think we've got to be more direct tomorrow than normal. They press really, really well. We saw that with Barcelona on the no Barcelona press way too high. Their line is way too high. But yeah, that for me is a concern. I just think that's where ironically where we take the risk. And I think if we do that too much tomorrow, I could see us conceding 2. But
yeah,
if you're right, I'm
taking the 1-1 all day long back to Emirates because I think the 1-1 we see that out. We beat them at Emirates, to be honest.
Yes. Well, at the same time, by the way, so negative, aren't you? You're going there taking a draw. We're obviously going to lose, but you're taking a draw. Oh Jesus. That's what you get when you say these things. But all day long in a 2-legged tie, don't lose away, win at home. You're through, right?
Yeah.
It's how these games are played. They're not all 5-4s. These 5-4 games, are insane. But that is genuinely what people think we should do. It's like it's not how we play, and it's not how most European games are played either.
The thing is that's 5-4 there, and everybody thinks, oh yeah, it's a really entertaining game or whatever. You know what? When those managers get them players into the dressing room,
so, yeah,
they're getting drawn a new one for not defending.
Yeah. I mean, right now, if I'm Vincent Kompany, superb defender in his day, right? I'm getting out the Oxford English Dictionary and going, defending.
Yeah, this is what it
is. This is a definition of.
Yeah, you need to do that. Right, we're going to check out because there'll be a show on after us as well. Thanks for tuning in. We'll try and do another show on Thursday, but it depends if we can get people.
I think I'm around Thursday.
Oh, are you? Okay, cool. Well, we're probably on. If Dom's on, we're probably on. So that's cool. If you want to get involved in the shows, drop me a comment or a DM, or send me an email to the email. But meantime, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Dom, for coming on as well.
Thanks for having me on. So a lovely couple of hours chat. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Spencer. No, this isn't Liam's channel. No, it's Highbury Fans Forever, I think it is. But no. I hope that's not a bad thing. I hope that's not a bad thing, but yeah. I do go to the games.
It's worth giving a listen to, Spence. I promise you.
I do go to the games with Liam though. But there we go. We'll see you potentially on Thursday. Hopefully for not for kicking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If I'm not crying, I'm around on Thursday.
Okay, we'll see you later. Good night.